The American people and American society have flourished for nearly 250 years, not because of some accident, but because of the grace of God and the brilliance of our founding fathers, who created a system uniquely designed to foster the ideal conditions for individual liberty, human success, and societal flourishing. But the system was always predicated upon the continued existence of a just and moral society, where action in the pursuit of justice and morality would counteract the worst of human ambition. It was also predicated upon the continued existence of a federal government strong enough to do what the governed had consented to in the Constitution, but not so omnipotent as to be able to undermine the liberties of the individuals and the states. It was also predicated upon a recognition that the concentration of power in the hands of a few was a recipe for tyranny. And of course, the mere existence of words on paper alone does not guarantee any individual's rights. Rather, it has been action taken by principled people that fulfills those guarantees and secures those individual liberties. Put differently, in America, thanks to the wisdom and foresight of our founding fathers, our Davids have always had a chance against our Goliaths. But sadly, we live in unprecedented times where the concentration of power in the federal government, particularly in the executive branch under President Biden's leadership, has served as the fulcrum through which other powers in society oppress the individual and undermine the foundation upon which our national success resides. The Biden administration, and most notably the Department of Justice, appears to have embarked on a journey of political persecution of those with whom it disagrees, with the end result being the total social, economic, and political domination of the populace. And beyond its attempts to silence and imprison its political opposition, the Biden administration has engaged in an obsessive-compulsive campaign of division and spoliation of the public fisc based on the immutable characteristics of American citizens. Its efforts are incessant and relentless. We live in a time in which any attempt even to describe the current state of affairs gets labeled as disinformation, misinformation, malinformation, and worthy of censorship. Or worse, content worthy of subjecting an individual to criminal prosecution. Memes are prosecuted. Business leaders are subjected to intrusive investigation solely because of their outspoken views. Actual peaceful protesters are imprisoned. And all the while, violent and repeat criminals run free in major cities across the United States. In this new and unprecedented world, everyone, including a former president of the United States, is threatened by the federal Leviathan and private elites who seek total domination and control over every aspect of human life. The political persecution of President Trump by the Biden administration is unlawful, unprecedented, and un-American. These prosecutions must end. But make no mistake, the American people must understand the intended impact of the administration's conspiracy extends far beyond any personal consequence to President Trump. Instead, the intended result is to chill dissent, silence speech, and convince the American people that the weight of the federal government can be forcefully weaponized against anyone who stands in the way. President Trump is in the administration's crosshairs to discourage anyone, now or in the future, from challenging the administration's agenda. The Biden administration must not be allowed to indict and potentially imprison its political opposition with impunity. My written statement highlights just 3 glaring problems, examples of lawfare that are being used against President Trump. Number 1, the Biden White House granted an illegal special access request to allow the Department of Justice to illegally obtain access to President Trump's records. 2, the Biden administration is prosecuting President Trump based on an erroneous and faulty interpretation of the Presidential Records Act, and actually provides individual bureaucrats with greater control over their records than President Trump. 3, the Biden administration has weaponized a white-collar criminal statute for the first time in history to attack President Trump and others. But there are so many more examples. The average American citizen residing outside of the Beltway, away from the isolated, elitist bubble where ends justifying the means seem to be a mantra for many, is tired of watching institutions they once trusted violate the law and undermine the critical components of the constitutional and social constructs that made ours the greatest country in history. The remaining issue then is what must be done. The time is now for institutional ambition to counteract institutional ambition. For Americans to stand up unafraid and unapologetic for the values that they hold dear. And for our republic to reject the radical weaponization of the executive branch. Thank you.